Because it was, what, Poppy, Renekton, being taken away, and then another top laner that, you know, K'Sante doesn't like to see. It kind of forced an Ambessa ban. I am curious if Ambessa actually shows her face now in the draft, because playing against Vi Ambessa can be quite deadly. Might be picked up here by NaiYou to kind of double flex. That could be an option or an opportunity.
It's going to be the response here, maybe in the jungle for NaiYou. See, Creme on the Aurora. He picked it for the first time this season in their series in the Knights Rivals tournament. Ended up doing all right on it. It's going to be NaiYou locking in the Wukong. Another champion he's had some good success on in this season. So mid-jungle here for Top Esports has been set up. Let's see what exactly JDG wants to do here. Talk about combos that have worked well historically. Maybe something like a Taliyah for HongQ could come through.
Could be. Do want to note that Aurora could be flexible. We've seen a lot of Aurora top of late. Has some good matchups. Like, I don't expect to see something like Renekton blinded anymore, because that was set up really well for Aurora going to that top lane. So yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that it was Creme's first go at the Aurora, though, recently, as I thought he was a pretty good Aurora player last year. He is a champion that fit him really well. Fit
just
top
this season.
Yeah.
For that, I just remember it because Creme was the player that really got his pool tested the most in that series against WE. He had to pull out the Aurora, the Galio, and then the Smolder towards the end of that series as well. They go back to the Aurora this time around.
Kind of asking to get Aurora top now. As 369. He's yet to play the Aurora top, but if he is able to play it, it is a good matchup in a Renekton. Looks like might be something that JDG knows is not going to be in the arsenal, as top laner is being hovered here by Top Esports. 369 not going to subscribe to Flanders, maybe. Or maybe they're going to keep it vague here, Grapes, as they are going to lock in Corki. So we see the top side for JDG. They need to find their bot lane. That Aurora could still be flexed between mid or top. Again, we haven't seen 369 pull it out, but globally, I think you got to expect teams to be able and willing to pull out Aurora top, especially when the matchup could be good, like it is into Renekton. So curious if JDG just throws bans at Fengyue to guarantee that they hit, or if they ban out any mids to maybe read the Aurora flex with 369, or, you know, maybe take away stuff like K'Sante or the top laners because they don't want to deal with that.
We'll see where exactly this final ban goes. Going to be the Rakan.
So they did ban supports. That tells me they still think this Aurora could be flexible. And I don't think we're... I mean, there is a real choice now for top, because do you want to find your support pairing with Corki? Or do you take your top laner, which is going to be another 369 classic? He has busted out the Gangplank.
Man, I had this in the back of my notes as like, he's not going to play Gangplank, right? I know he has a lot of really creative picks that he's whipped out already. The Vladimir, as we already mentioned. I mean, look, like Gwen that not a lot of people are playing.
I'm hip to it.
This is something new.
I am hip to it. Like on paper, this should play okay. Into what's showing already topside, it definitely. I mean, it just got a little bit better. Are we really going Callisto? Wow. So
remember we said that they want to play hard and fast. That's gonna come in again here in game 2.
Yeah, a lot of early game. I mean, I just think GP, if he gets going, could really eat this game alive. And yeah, Blitzcrank, what can you use to get picks to break this up? I would like Bard a lot here too. I think Bard buys some time, buys some space for GP to maybe set up a few barrels or get going in the fight. Yeah, Bard's gonna be the option. And man, I see Vi, Callista. In my head, it immediately goes to, can we get the first Drake at 5:30? Is the second Drake, you know, down by 12 minutes or before that, hopefully? It is about dragon stacking as fast as possible for JDG. I think, again, taking the first Drake, the first Grubs, might be possible too, given the draft they're showing. They have a lot of strength. Now, where the benefits come in for Top Esports, Gangplank, I like a lot this game. I think that playing Callista and even Taliyah into Gangplank, I mean, if you walk into any of those barrels can't really be contested. You have a way to play out of The Renekton Vi pairings with Talia too with the orange. It's tough, but you have a way to play out of it. That's good defense. Aurora can be slippery in that too. You have a way to play out of the Vi combos if you correctly use Aurora's ult to buffer, which is really big for Creme. I kind of like the scenario that Top Esports is in, but I think a lot of the prowess and the onus is on JD Gaming, who do have the stronger early game composition to execute. And if they can execute well with this comp, it could be tough for Top Esports to play their way into this one.
It's a very similar situation, Cubby, to Game 1, where the tools are in JD Gaming's hands for the first 15-20 minutes or so, but if they falter at all, Top Esports gets that Gangplank to 3 items. If they're able to start scaling up, that's where things can once again go awry, and they did go awry in game number 1, even though JD Gaming had a lot of control. Once again, back to this superstar mid-jungle duo in JunJia and HongQ. What can they do on the Vi Talia? We'll find out as we get onto the Rift for game number 2.
No JiaQis for game 2, Grips?
Looks like we're saving him.
We're just gonna save him. We're just gonna save him for when we need him. All right, that's all right. Well, we have a little bit of time here in the pregame. Let's pull this crappy graph off our screens that says Top Esports wins this early game, because they don't. And let's pull up a lower third that we made on the LPL broadcast, talking about first stand opportunities, if we can. Because we have a chance to see some returners to first stand last year, Grapes, where the majority of teams have already, that were in first stand in the first iteration, have already been knocked out of qualification. So opportunity for Creme or HongQ to be a returner to an international tournament that we saw them compete in to kick off last year, if they are able to find a win today.
Remember, both of these guys were at first stand with CFO and TES respectively. Still have Viper in the mix, as of course 369, who also attended that tournament with his old team. Not a lot of them left at this point. I mean, a notable one already eliminated in Kanavi, right? And on Hanwha Life before anybody in the LCK.
Well, that's because they were the worst team in the world, Grapes, and they deserve to be eliminated first.
They deserve that one. Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of, remember how much we love this format? There's another best of 5 coming right after this as well in the schedule. Make sure you stay tuned for AL versus WE after this.
Remember how bad Kanavi was on this Top Esports team? Doesn't that make sense that he was eliminated first with that HLE team? Definitely is not good.
That was the first team eliminated in the world, wasn't it? Or
yeah,
it was close to it.
Oh, it was a big talking point. I know you might have been busy with your cool side gig here, but that's one that we remembered in the lows of esports.
I just remember looking at a tweet that said HLE eliminated. I'm like, wait, how is that possible? Didn't they like?
Boy, do I have a format for you.
Getting word from our production. Technically, Ultra Prime eliminated first, actually. So shout out to the LPL, always on top. We do things better here.
Shout out to Ultra Prime, being consistent at doing what their 2-letter tag cannot do. We definitely have never made any jokes about that before. Anyway, returning to this game, opportunity for JunJia to maybe find a double crab here, as that ward will give away when the Raptors were started. Mid was in base. He doesn't want to go for the double crab, which might have been available to him. Instead, we'll just take the recall. Get back out on the map here for round 2, as again, I think that the second round of camps being cleared is going to be both junglers clearing down Grapes, and then we will see both junglers, I think, start to stray where Dragon spawns. Because Vi, Kalista, they need these dragons on time.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how they want to play the game, getting those early objectives certainly going to be important, and just having the strength to do that, especially with bot lane pushing the way that it has been, is good. Does mean, though, you're going to leave 369 on an island on his signature gangplank. You see, over a year it's been since this champion was last locked in down in the LPL. So definitely pulling deep into the pockets here of 369, but you know he is always a solid gangplank player, a record of 28-17 throughout his career on the tank.
It's definitely a champion that has been closely associated to his name throughout his career. A little bit down the match for the moment. We do have to give some flowers over to Xiaoxu. Hasn't been in the league as long as 369. Not the player of the same caliber that 369 is, but his Renekton is quite good. As I think that when he made his appearance with JDG last year, we were really impressed by his Renekton play early on. Definitely felt like he was one of the players that had a strong read on that champion being good before others had the same read, Grapes. He was able to bust it out against a good counter pick for GP to scale in a Renekton. I mean, your goal is just to control this champ. If you're close in CS, your passive is going to allow you to kind of match. And then once you get going with the build, we'll see what 369 ends up going for. You have a couple options with Renekton. I'm just expecting Armor Pen likely second. Whether that's Collector or LDR.
Is there any world you go Essence Reaver now in this new meta with the Sheen being back on it? I mean,
yeah, we'll see.
Something back in the day. Triforce,
that should be it. Frankly, I just don't want to speak yet because I don't want to make myself look too stupid. I can at least say Collector LDR is a choice. I think Essence Reaver versus Triforce, it's more of a choice, but by ignoring that, I don't know the ramifications for either. We can move on.
Good time. Like clockwork, it's 5:30, Cubby, and that first dragon's been secured.
I mean, if my Callista Vi doesn't get early Drake and scrims, we might as well FF, if we're going to be honest. No, not that extreme. But it is very important to get early Drakes on these two champions that do take dragons so well. Whether it's denting blows from Vi or the ability to secure with the Ren stacks being yoinked and ripped through by Callista. Two of the best dragon-taking champs we have in the game at their position. And that's been a big priority for JDG between taking the red side and the drafts we've seen from them early on.
Nice trade by Creme, using that between worlds to gain priority in the mid lane and making sure JunJia is in a 2v1. Has to use that Vault Breaker to get back towards his crocodile friend.
This is
NaiYou
the 6
is
crab.
Going to be able to control this crab.
Yeah, it's the 6 crab. They brought up Fengyue. And they're going to make sure that JunJia can't flip this. So 6 goes over to the Wukong.
He wants it so bad. Is he gonna I thought he was going to jump over and try to smite it. Ends up going for the safer option.
Yeah, Bard showing was a lot, though.
Left alone. Handshake does go wide. Nice usage of the Valkyrie. Vampire's going to bail out. They're going to try to get this kill before it expires, but it will not happen. It's a 1-for-1 with First Blood going over to the Corki.
I know First Blood goes over to the Corki. Still worth... He loses the XP on the bot wave. Callista was able to live. That wave pushes back into Callista now. You see Fengyue is doing his best to make sure that's not the case, but that wave being where it's at. Yep, that's pushing back towards the Callista. So I think Gala's a happy camper. They don't get the 1-for-1, but I think that that's the right play from JDG nonetheless. Sorry, they don't get the 1-for-0. 1-for-1. That's the right play they made nonetheless. Now just curious to see if anyone moves for grubs.
You would think maybe this is an opportunity for JDG to play the carousel, rotate everybody around, send the Callista to the top side to take those objectives, but looks like instead, focus on maintaining the 2v2 status.
Yeah.
Remain more important for them at this point.
And they saw the Bard the whole time. I would be curious if and why they decided to not take a grub fight outside of really prioritizing more Templar on the Dragon, but I just don't see that one being the case or happening. Obviously, Dragon's not spawning right now, but, you know, you're prioritizing rotating out the camps and having a good setup for the next one. I just think that with Renekton 6 and where Xiaoxu is at in the matchup, I think he's going to get... Like, he just chunked out GP. 369 is kind of low on mana, which is your health pool on Gangplank, given the oranges. Yep. This feels like the top lane setup and scenario where it's like, we can rip grubs whenever we want. And I'm a little bit surprised that JDG are prioritizing having their jungler bot here, where if top, they were smart about that ward that just dropped. They saw a ward go into the brush. They saw 2 members of that lane. They know the jungler's bot, and NaiYou goes right to the grub, starts hitting them himself. So a choice for JDG to drop these and get something not on this timer, but the next one.
Oh. Thought JunJia might be able to catch out Creme, who was rotating down to protect the bottom lane, but instead, he's just going to back up, play this next wave mid, and all that JDG is going to get is a couple of camps down there in the enemy bottom side jungle alongside a little bit of chip damage onto the turret. So that's the sacrifice that they make for 3 grubs going over to TES. And remember what happened the last time 3 grubs went over to TES. They were the push down bottom lane to end the game after that one fight.
I'm not going to forget that one for a while, Grapes. That one was sad. Yeah, I still want to keep on giving credit over to Xiaoxu. He's doing a really nice job in this matchup so far, and it does look like it is the Essence Reaver. as you highlighted, Grapes. So definitely
I read the
change
patch
that
notes.
item.
I remember.
Oh
the
yeah.
change.
Oh yeah. Really helps the GP.
I was maybe even thinking this could be like an item that Corky goes with at some point, but you know, after talking to some of our marksman friends on the broadcast, was told that that was not the correct option. But looks like for 369, going for the crit's going to work. You see the barrels starting to do a little bit more damage before Cloak even has been collected. But Xiaoxu, again, up 30 CS in this lane. Exactly where you need to be given the scaling potential of this Pirate as we get later on into this one.
Yeah, they did add crit scaling back into the kegs. So the Essence Reaver changed quite nice for GP, given that, you know, you get mana, you get crit. It just works well with the other items you want to build. As that was the old talking point with the Triforce versus the Essence Reavers when the crit scaling was taken out of the barrels. As Xiaoxu not gonna be able to get that one. Still takes the trade. See, if he loses the contest though on the barrels, when those passives hit,
I know.
those passive auto attacks can stack up from the Gangplank.
My favorite little mini game. I mean, the Renekton with an auto reset definitely has a little bit of an advantage, but always fun to watch that micro interaction up between the top laners. But top lane certainly not the focus, at least at this point in the game, as we have the next dragon up. Should be JDG's time to try to contest that once again. Have Xiaoxu, good job chunking. Might have to burn the Dominus though, as 369 is taking him rather low. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we got a flash from HongQ away from that Between Worlds of Creme.
I'm kind of curious to see. Looks like Xiaoxu not opening up with Black Cleaver. He's going to go for more of a damage build. Could be an Eclipse up there. As again, Dragon. These first two Drakes, when you have Vi Callista, if you do not rip these on time and secure them for yourselves, your game gets very hard. But they have taken, I think, the necessary first two steps in a game where you're going to play Vi Callista in your draft of getting the first two Dragons in your name. So that has been done for JDG. Yeah.
Success.
Uh-huh. We'll see what happens from here, though.
I mean, just remembering what happened in game number 1 as we get a Tempered Fate here onto HongQ. Stun does not connect. Seismic Shove sends Creme back. Wow. And nice escape from HongQ. Able to survive a 3v1 that top esports threw at him. And now JiaQi's going to face the same fate. Remember what happened a few minutes ago. No bailout even going to be needed this time as JunJia gets the kill and makes it 2-1.
Yeah, the handshake hit this time around from Vampire, and the handshake was not found by JiaQi on that dive. As JunJia, again, second time in a row, we saw JDG as a team. They saw Fengyue, not bot. What happens on that wave? Bot gets attacked. So the ability for this Bard to walk, they have seen Callista Renata be able to effectively punish it now twice, as both deaths do lay on JiaQi's scoreline.
And so this goes back to that conversation we were having with the grub take by top esports. Is it worth it to fully focus on the bottom lane? Seems like so far it's worked out, but HongQ going to get re-dove as NaiYou says, forget me not, I'll be right back here. Takes him down with a Cyclone.
Did HongQ, like, say something about Top's family in the last 2 minutes to force them? I mean, they sprinted to his lane 3 times in a row, it feels like. But they got him this time. Third time's a charm. HongQ goes down.
Try again, they did.
They invested a lot.
You know what? It's worked out so far. We've talked about how JunJia's done a good job rotating to the bottom side. Has not been joined by HongQ in a lot of the situations. You have to credit Creme being able to generate a CS lead, push those waves out. And now with that kill, the only one on his team with a gold lead at this point in the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine for Creme. I'm watching Corky's lane be frozen against him, and I just don't see a way where Top can break this on the map. And that has me a bit more concerned.
Anyway, uses the magical journey right into JunJia's face. There goes the ulti from Vampire. Forces Creme's flash, and JunJia's still going to go forward, but he's going to be taken very low quickly. The bailout, though, saving him for a little bit. Able to get one more Vault Breaker off, and that means that Gala can go wild. Here he flashes, almost finishes off Fengyue with that final spear. But regardless, a good trade overall for JDG. They go 2 for 1.
Yeah, I don't know what JunJia was doing there. It ended up kind of working, but I felt like we banana combo twice on Vi, and then we kind of found it in the end. As I do want to credit Vampire. I actually really like the hostile takeover. I know that it didn't necessarily hit on Creme, but forcing the flash out, and in that scenario, in that timer, it's kind of hard to hit Aurora as Renata, and I actually kind of think the hostile takeover is what won them this fight. As that fight, frankly, I think lucky that top got one back as the handshake timer was a little off. I mean, we missed Bard. That's understandable. That's fine. And then this skirmish, I really like this hostile takeover. Again, this is Creme's only out, and if not, he gets comboed over the wall by HongQ. And it's kind of what enables him to find Creme in the back half, too. So, yeah. Tempered Fate is kind of meh. And then the handshake timing was boom, boom, which is the only reason that JunJia doesn't live, frankly. I just think that setup off the rip is just much better from JDG. I know that JunJia kind of has a couple Qs or an R that looks weird / interesting in there, but in hindsight, for me, I think the play where it was taken and that hostile takeover coming from Fog from Vampire was just really clutch and splitting top up, making sure they were fighting from the back foot off the start.
Yeah, it started with Fengyue taking that very aggressive magical journey in. Ends up not working very well for TES. What will work well is their objective control around the top side of the map. They're going to claim this Rift Herald, hopefully use that to get a little bit more gold into their laners' pockets, as they are now down over 2,000 at the 16-minute mark. You got HongQ pushing on the bottom side. Really been the area of control for JDG in this series.
I mean, if I have to take a takeaway from the first two game scrapes, I've been really impressed by what we've seen out of Gala and Vampire. You know, I know that game one didn't go their way, but the flex of the Varus into the Ashe Seraphine, they played that lane, executed it well. Big priority on the 2v2 when JDG takes red side, which, I mean, it's my first pick. They're good enough for red side. Well-timed wall.
Oh!
Yep, stops the charge.
You know, every day I learn a new way you can cancel the charge of the Rift Herald.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That's been getting used a lot more by our pro players. That one's been hip of late. That Herald, I mean, it didn't grant the turret. It didn't grant any priority over bot and river. Xiaoxu is here first, and the GP and top esports are fighting an uphill battle as NaiYou's going to be split, maybe?
We've got our top laners duking it out in the mid lane as the Dragon has been started up by TES. Creme dashing forward, uses the weirding dash on out. Ulti's already traded between the top laners, and the Between Worlds is big. Will it be big enough? Xiaoxu just out-duels 369 in the mid lane on his own. The Tempered Fate will buy some time, but it is too little and too late for TES. It is an absolute wipe for JDG as they get 4 kills for none.
I thought the trade of 369 onto Xiaoxu early on was actually quite good in chunking out the Renekton, kiting him out, but Xiaoxu takes the all-in and takes over the fight off the solo kill on the 369. Then the way he plays out the back half of the fight was honestly beautiful. 4-man Tempered Fate from Fengyue might have looked cool, but didn't mean anything later on. First off, takes away the TP shield that you get, that's a lot of value off of that empowered W. But then from here, I really like the flash, just to keep up the autos, keep up the Fury. Understands this. The other Q coming out of this, I mean, empowered Q W on the Creme. Then this Q is beautiful. I mean, in positions to hit all three, gets the auto off to make sure that Q gets empowered or close to empowered. That's good Renekton mechanics. Really well played fight by Xiaoxu. It shows in the damage too. That Croc was taking up a lot of space, doing a lot of damage. And Creme, who was the most fed member of top esports coming out of this lane phase, just not big enough to turn that fight around.
Yeah, he just ate an empowered W to the face immediately after Xiaoxu took down 369. Was not able to do much after that, and ends up dropping before dishing out a ton of damage. So JDG, this time they find the snowball they're looking for. In game one, they kept the goal lead around 2 to 3K, never fully able to break it open. This is, I think, the largest lead that they've had in this series so far.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not letting up. We spent a lot of time talking about
dodge there from HongQ, able to get away from that initial damage, and Creme's able to whip back and forth with Between Worlds as well. Tempered Fate landing here onto the Talia, but it's only to delay the eventual collapse from JD Gaming because Gala and the Vampire are on the way, and the Weaver's Wall coming out from HongQ as well. Seismic shove not connecting, and so JDG will instead turn their sight to the top tier 1.
Kind of an equally desperate timer from JDG.
Oh, they're going forward again. They're going to flash
Yeah,
away, but in goes the hostile takeover, and whee! There goes JunJia on to Fengyue through the magical journey. Gala finishes off
GG.
one. He's got a double, looking for the third. It's Creme. He's not long for this world, as looks like the game ended a little early for our liking. JDG just dominating that fight in the top side.
Oh, that might have been a spoiler for the clean feed. Oh, that's kind of funny. I mean, this one after this fight, this is super over. It felt like Top Esports made a desperation play, and then the re-engage was also kind of desperate from JDG. I don't know why they turned it like that. And then Top Esports sealed their own demise by going it again. So it ends up just being a 20-minute Baron. They can take this on time with the Vi with tempting blows. And the Kalista being here guarantees the smite. It's going to make the Soul pretty hard to secure too. As JDG going to make sure they put the finishing touches onto this game when they took this Baron.
I think I know how this one ends. I've got a good feeling. JDG, this time able to hold on, at least for now, to their early game lead.
So,
really playing around the bottom side, and it worked out.
This might be one of the few times where not being an official broadcast is nice, because we can talk about client issues that existed in the past. One of which we were very victim of. Oh my god, he just found Creme over the wall. Off the sweeper. I mean, he's stuck. He's out. Okay, it's okay. There was a bug where if the game finished and you had used the timeline at all in spectate, it would instantly die. And there was an OQ where we were spectating Grapes, and we found that bug a bunch.
Just saying, we've had a lot of experience with it. Not on the LPL though, but we'll see how this one does end up finishing. And it looks like we know the end to this story. It's Gala getting another kill. It is the bot lane tier 2 being opened up. This was about the same area where game 1 ended in the opposite end for Top Esports. This time JDG look like they're in control.
I really feel like things went wrong for Top when they abandoned JiaQi to be dove twice. Even the 1-for-1, I mean, again, that's where it was more valuable for JDG, because the experience was able to go over to Gala, who lived throughout the skirmish. And the wave was set up better for Gala, who lived throughout the skirmish. I think that the heavy mid focus from Top Esports this game, I mean, I can kind of see trying to slow down HongQ, but I think abandoning JiaQi to be dove twice for that, wrong timers from Fengyue, which is what got this game, I think, so out of hand so fast in favor of JDG is Top. Okay. Desperation play.
Gonna come in, will be Creme, goes face first into a 1v5, and in goes the hostile takeover. JiaQi with a self-sabotage onto his jungler. It's a double kill for Gala, a teleport into the base, and JDG looking to control game number 2. And they will do it in emphatic fashion.
I think the last 2 fights that Top Esports opted themselves into to try and bring this one back, I think they deserve to lose in pretty fantastic fashion. As the last 2 fights, not very close, as Top Esports, I think, looks with a little bit more desperation than pre-planning in this game. And JDG gonna put the finishing touches on this one, and even up the series 1-1.
369, the final death. Didn't get an opportunity to do much on his signature champ. A 16-kill lead for JD Gaming as they took advantage and even up our series at 1-1.
Yeah, again, I think that if we go through the replay reel of some of these attempts by Top Esports, this game felt a little bit over for a bit. And that's not even talking about the client that we had pop up on our clean feed here.
So, you know, I'm curious about that, because I normally, like, we're on a delay on some of our remote broadcasts, but they're in person. I don't know what exactly happened there. Maybe some movie magic that we don't fully know the inner workings.
I think we actually needed more movie magic is what we needed, Grapes. we need more.
Get the edit team in here. They'll make everything look all nice for us. But yeah, this felt like how game 1 should have gone for JDG, and I mean that's a textbook solution to how they want these drafts to function. And they ended the game in less than 25 minutes. You don't see that often in Pro League of Legends, and Top Esports gonna have to go back to the drawing board a little bit, as they just were not able to get to the scaling point that they wanted to here.
Yeah, I mean, again, I just think that the looks we had from Top were not good. I'm kind of curious to get the replay roll, because I want to go back and put myself more in Top's shoes of being like, okay, what are we looking for on this engage outside of desperation? I think the top lane play is when I can assure that that was desperation that we're looking at. But again, I think that throwing all the resources that they did in the HongQ, how HongQ played his way out of those ganks, I don't know if we talked about that enough either, Grapes, because he really soaked a lot of the pressure that Top was throwing at him. A lot of those resources, it opened up dive windows on the JiaQi to cash in on this Kalista Renata that was late picked. And the early game comp got going and showed no signs of slowing down this game.
And again, I mean, we talked about it. This was a big point you wanted to highlight as we started off this series. JunJia and HongQ playing together, you know, coming over from CFO, wanting to take down an opponent in top that they played against at first stand over a year ago to get to first stand in 2026. We saw it in game number 1, although they did not result in a win. This time, HongQ maybe, you know, was able to absorb a lot of that pressure. This time, it actually allowed for JunJia to get out onto the map, specifically to the bot lane, where he really allowed for Gala and Vampire to snowball.
Yeah, I mean, okay, this fight for me from top was fine. I think they aren't going to show the 2 bot dives in the Corki, which were really the tough parts of the game for me. Just because, again, I think that once Kalista Renata gets going like this, Corki is a pretty good matchup into Kalista. I don't love the Bard in a Renata. I just don't think that you're really able to... Like, for me, the best Enchantress play in a Renata is probably Karma, and you aren't pairing Corki and Karma together. You want to save Karma for other games, because if you're going to use Jhin Ezreal at all in a series, it's probably your best chance, but... Yeah, I mean, again, I thought this fight from Top Esports, it ends up being very grim because Xiaoxu just kind of takes a fat dumpy on the 369 Gangplank. I mean, sincerely, that's what happened, and then the rest of the fight goes the way of... It was a nice hostile takeover in the Kalista combo. But, yeah, this fight was over because Xiaoxu won the 1v1 and then won the rest of the fight.
Yeah, I mean...
And I think Xiaoxu's probably the point of the game.
Yeah, I was just about to say... If we're going to award one right now, probably goes over to the Crocodile. I mean, he was against... he blinded this Renekton. 369 had an answer. It was the Gangplank that was going to try to scale later into this one.
Yeah, I don't think this is a Galapog.
Never let that happen.
I feel like Galapog is just kind of because Fengyue left.
Yes.
I think the secondary Pog, I would actually give a shout out to Vampire. I thought Vampire's hostile takeovers in all the replays were actually quite good, quite well placed. So want to give him some credit too. But yeah, I mean... We're getting nitpicky over who the Pog was because there's nothing to be nitpicky off of based on the gameplay we saw. This was a stomp from JDG, one that they can be proud of, and one that might actually mentally make up for the disaster of what the game 1 end was, which was you lost with Baron. You took
Never
Baron.
want that to happen.
Yeah, you took Baron, and then you got 5 pro and you died.
Take Baron into lose game with the lead combo. Yeah, not.
Yeah, doing that is pretty depressing. Absolutely blitzing a team in 23 minutes is the opposite of that. And now I think Top has to be the one that overcomes depression after this next game. You know,
they'll be feeling nice and refreshed. Top Esports just got to reset once again. I mean, this best of 5 still has legs. 3 games potentially left to play between these 2 teams, and. You know, we said it was a close matchup in terms of seeding. Our expectations in terms of closeness in reality maybe were more favored for JDG, but we saw what Top Esports had been able to do in terms of coming back. And now we, you know, just have to wait. These teams split their regular season series at this exact score, 1-1. It was a 2-0 for JDG and then a 2-0 for Top Esports later on to wrap up the season. We'll see if they have any of that juice left in them, as they definitely have to rebound after what just happened.
Yeah. Okay, it's going to be Gala. They're going to ignore the fact that
this is scoreboard watching.
Yeah, it was a bit of scoreboard watching, you know. I mean, the 2v1, they go 1 for 1, and then the 3v1 is only a 1 for 0? Come on. That can't be enough to warrant a Pog.
Hey. We know that Gala's been good. Him and Vampire, specifically in this series, very lane dominant so far. We'll see how many more 2v2 lanes they have up their sleeve at this point as you get closer to Fearless.
This is where I like to bust out the old Wolf phrase of it was a boom boom damage vote, you know? They voted for the boom boom damage. We pogged up Gala. We move on from there.
Except the guy that did the most damage in that last fight was...
We have one base observer, 1 base referee.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Those are our MVPs. That's the LPL English vote for Xiaoxu here.
Yep.
But shout out to Gala regardless, as he was a big part in allowing for JDG to even this series up. We're tied up going into Game 3. Our opening series has delivered so far in the 2026 LPL postseason. When we return, we'll have that draft, picks and bans, and gameplay. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.